Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today, I'm going to be talking about Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, and this is book 5 in the Throne of Glass series. Now, I won't lie, I was a bit nervous going into this. Just, Queen of Shadows, so much happened, so much kept me on my toes, and like I believe I said in my review for that, there were times where I actually had to close the book, set it down, and just take a walk because something so big happened or some big scare happened that I needed to back away and let it sink in. So yeah, Queen of Shadows made me feel so many feels that I was worried that Empire of Storms would be kind of a letdown. But I was very thankfully wrong. By the time I finished Empire of Storms, I wasn't quite as big a wreck as I was during Queen of Shadows, but I was feeling all the emotions. All the emotions. And I just finished reading this book last night, so things are still sinking in. I'm still processing a little bit, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of missing details or I don't cover everything. Just a lot went on, and there's just so much to talk about. So I can't say that this is my favorite book in the series so far, but, you know, it was still a good installment. I enjoyed it. There were quite a few twists and turns that made me stop and just stare at the page. And I am both afraid and excited for the last book in the series. I'm afraid of what's gonna happen, who might die, because let's face it, it's gonna be a big ending, and you know, there's probably going to be a huge battle, and death happens, and it's just kind of unrealistic to expect every single one of these characters to survive the final encounter. So yeah, I am afraid of that, but I'm also really excited to see how things play out. So yeah, all in all, I thought this was a good installment. I recommend reading it, and yeah, I can't really say too much more without spoiling. So, if you have not read Empire of Storms yet, I highly suggest you click away now and come back after you catch up. So, where to begin? Oh my goodness. I will say I was kind of disappointed that we did not see what Kale was up to in this book. As I kept reading, I was expecting to see something from his point of view, but we got nothing. We have absolutely no idea what's happening to Kale or Nezrin during this whole book. They are completely AWOL. They could be dead for all we know. Like, especially near the end, I kept expecting the two of them to randomly show up with an army for Aelin. I kept expecting, and I kept hoping to see Kale fully healed, just riding in with an armada, ready to help Aelin and kick ass. But we didn't get that, which was kind of disappointing. I hope we see something like that happen in the last book. So despite my disappointment of not being able to read anything from Kale's point of view, I was excited that I walked away with this book with like 3 new ships. Like Dorian and Manon, that ship has officially sailed for me. Like, I honestly can't remember my feelings about it when I first initially finished Queen of Shadows, but by the end of this, I'm just like, yep, I ship it. I totally ship it. I totally ship Lysandra and Adian as well. I think they are a nice little ship that I was very disappointed to see might end up crashing by the end of the book. I hope they hold strong because they'd make a good couple, I think. Another ship that actually really surprised me was Allied and Lorcan. Like, as, you know, they started to, you know, travel together, I got a feeling something was gonna happen, and wasn't too surprised as I kept reading and feelings started to develop between the two of them. Not sure how stable that ship is gonna be, especially after the end of this book, but, you know, there's still hope. There might still be hope. So the Lords of Terrasen, I did not like them. Like, I got their arguments. Aelin is pretty damn strong, and she doesn't really have any checks to her power, and that can be dangerous. Like, what's to stop her from, turning on all of them? What's to stop her from destroying everything? Her word, promises only mean so much. Promises can be broken. So, to a point, I get their hesitation to make her queen officially. But they were assholes about it. There's no way around it. Just the amount of work Aelin has put in throughout this book and in Queen of Shadows to give her people a fighting chance against this falling darkness is just mind-blowing. And just everything, all of Aelin's cunning and planning and just plain old badassery has just established Aelin as, once again, one of my favorite female characters. Throughout this whole thing, I was kind of like shaking my head over the fact that Aelin wasn't open with her plans. Though, as things went on, I was also understanding about that. She was calling in a lot of favors from people, a lot of life debts that were owed to her. And she wasn't sure if people would answer. She didn't want to get everyone's hopes up, only to have them shattered. Okay, going to Allied for a moment. Allied, I love the fact that we do have a very badass young woman who doesn't have any magic. She has no magic, no extra senses, no heightened senses. She is just run-of-the-mill human. Yeah, she has a goddess looking out for her, but for the most part, she is a run-of-the-mill human. So her talent is just pure like her. I found I grew to like her more and more. And I love how hard and fast Lorcan kinda fell for her. And oh my god, Manon. I looked so forward to Manon's chapter because I just love seeing how she was handling things since the end of the last book. And the twist with Manon not being a full Blackbeak. Or a full Iron-Tooth witch, so to speak. Her father was one of the other witches, the Croshan, I think it's pronounced. I am not sure. I am bad with pronunciation, as I've established many times. I think I actually literally shouted, "Oh shit," when I read that. And not only was her father a Croshan, he was a prince, so that makes her like the official last queen of the Croshan witches. And the witch that she killed in the last book for that red cloak was her half-sister. Just, holy shit. And the fact that she actually felt guilty about that, Manon has come so far since Heir of Fire. And I was so scared. I was so scared when her grandmother told her that she had to kill Astrid. I was actually really afraid that she was going to do it. But when she instead turned to try and kill her grandmother, I was cheering her on. Because I want to see her grandmother dead. And I really hope Manon gets the honors of doing that. And part of me wonders if Petra, the Blue Bloods heir, is going to help Manon in some way. And when we find out exactly how much Elena screwed up way back in the day, I wanted to wrap my hands around her ghostly neck and just kind of strangle her. How she stole the lock and wasted it to lock up the Dark King instead of, talking to her father. And maybe her father, Brandon, could have used a little more communication as well to try and say, you know what, this thing can be used once. I am saving it for this specific moment that will get rid of not only the Dark King, but it'll send the rest of these gods home so that, we can all be happy and yada yada yada. Instead, she not only just did a temporary fix for the Dark King, but she pissed off all the gods in the process. And now, because of this little screw up of hers, she basically passed this curse down to Aelin. And yeah, she may be sorry for it, but she's still screwed up. And now, the only way for this lock to be reforged is for Aelin to basically drain every last bit of her power, her life, into creating a new lock. And that's their chance to, put the keys back in the Word Gate and get rid of the Dark King and send the gods on their merry way home. So Aelin basically has to sacrifice herself to do this. Which isn't fair to Aelin, first of all. She's, of course, going to do it. She's made plans, get her people set up to, go on without her before she does it. Which just makes me so sad. Aelin has had such a crap life since the time her parents were killed onward. And she had, a few brief times of happiness here and there. But now she's expected to, basically kill herself to fix this mistake that Elena made. And she has kept this to herself. She's known this, or at least had a very good idea of it, since maybe halfway through the book. So she is known for a while. And Mav. Mav is, for lack of better words, a total bitch. If I didn't hate her by the end of Heir of Fire, I certainly do hate her guts now. I think I've gone beyond hate for her. How she gave Aelin basically no choice but to go along with her. How she had her new second whip her who knows how many times. And then they chained her up, basically gagged her with a mask, and put her in a coffin of iron. She is so thoroughly shackled with iron. She has no hope of healing herself. She has no hope of getting out. And she willingly had this done to her to save a lie. And just my heart literally broke at that. But during all this, she was still clever and managed to sneakily slip the keys to Manon so that though Mav would have her, she wouldn't have the keys. Because Mav wants to use the keys as a weapon. She doesn't want to lock up the Dark King. She just wants to use the keys to give her more power. And as long as Aelin is with Mav, she can't do what she has to do to reforge a new lock. Which is what Mav wants. She doesn't want Aelin to reforge the lock. She is known for years upon years before Aelin was born that there would be an heir like Aelin who was supposed to do that. And for years, she's sneakily got things set up so that Aelin wouldn't be able to do that. Why she had Rowan become bloodsworn to her, she wanted to use Rowan, who we find out is Aelin's mate, to control Aelin. It didn't work how she wanted, but in the end result, she got Aelin where she wanted her. And then, what she asked of Lysandra, Aelin knew she would basically be dead once she reforged the lock. And she asked Lysandra if she could pretend to be her, to continue to lead on Terrasen with her face. The pros of having a shapeshifter friend, I guess, right? And Lysandra agreed. And days before this final showdown thing happened, she married Rowan, so Terrasen has a legal king now, him. The fact that she agreed to this broke my heart, and just everything that was revealed by the end just left me a shattered mess. And how everyone's like, okay guys, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And Rowan is so determined to go after Aelin, especially after they found out fully what Aelin planned to do and what she did do to establish them an army. Not only did she get the Pirate Lord to agree to give them ships, not only did she get Ansel of the Wastes to, help her out, she also got their Ash River cousin from Wendelin involved, and the Assassins of the Red Desert. She called in as many life debts as she could, and all of them answered. And they're all willing to help. So they got a pretty nice army going on, and that's not including the cousins of his that Rowan managed to talk over and beg to their side. And it's also not including the 13 of Manon's. They are going to help too. They're going to go gather the Crochans and try and raise an army to rival the Iron Teeths. So they're going to have a pretty impressive looking army. And hot damn, I am so looking forward to that. And like I said, I hope Kale manages to come back with an army of his own to help out. So guys, overall, I did enjoy this book. It probably isn't my favorite in the series, but It's up there. And oh my god, I need the next book, like, now. So, yeah, what were everyone else's thoughts? Did you like this book? Did you thought it was a good addition to the series? What were some parts you didn't like so much? So yeah, let's get a discussion going on. So yeah, that is it for this book review, and I hope to see you guys next time. Keep on reading, my fellow book addicts. Keep on reading.